A happy Thursday to everybody. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now, and we're live right here on Chat Sports on this beautiful May 30th. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making Eagles Now a part of your day. I'm your host, Chase Sr., producer Jake Chipper on the ones and twos, and the second Eagles OTA open practice is happening right now. So coming up here on the show, we're going to pass along live updates from Eagles practice, in addition to discussing the latest Eagles news, rumors, analysis, and of course, you'll be a part of the show as well. Here's what we have coming your way on the Eagles Now rundown. OTA takeaways, storylines, position battles. We're going to talk about it all here because the live updates are coming in as we speak. New Philadelphia Eagles cut candidates, players who are in danger of making the Eagles roster following OTAs, going into mandatory minicamp, which is next week, by the way, and is a reunion on the horizon. Could a former Eagle return back to Philadelphia if he's let go by his current team? We also want to do a mailbag, so you can get involved right now. Use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat that's using the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat if you have a question, if you have some analysis, a hot take that you want featured right here on the show. Recent commenter club, Bird Gang Tommy, Giordano, Dragon, Andrew Nathan, Dennis Designs, Michael Bishop, and Vancouver Canucks fan all in the chat right now. And let's hear from everybody in the comment section. Everybody watching, I want you to type E because that gets us started with E-A-G-L-E-S. Eagles! Bird Gang Tommy, I see ya. Nicholas Clover, Dragon, Yolanda, Xavier, Gary, Bird Gang Tommy, Jorge Santiago, Dennis Designs, Earth, Steve, William Russell. It's great to see some real ones in the house. TB, Richard Moore, also typing that E. Good stuff right there. So the Birds practicing right now in South Philadelphia at the NovaCare Complex. Just got done stretching a little while ago. It is a beautiful day in South Philadelphia. You know what's also beautiful? The sight of this. And I have a couple of takeaways from this photo right here. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown at OTAs once again. I think it's really cool that two proven superstars in this league, two veterans are there. That shows you leadership, but also it's kind of a new era of this Eagles offense with Saquon being the most talented running back this Eagles team has had, going back to LaShawn McCoy, and then, of course, A.J. Brown as he continues to solidify himself as one of the top wide receivers in the game. This is also a welcome sight. Jalen Hurts in the background, throwing to Saquon Barkley in the foreground on a little bit of an out route. Kellen Moore, I think, is going to dial up a lot of passing plays for Saquon Barkley to utilize him as a weapon this upcoming year. And A.J. Brown, we know that he's a very confident dude. Back-to-back seasons in which his production has been sensational for Philadelphia. He is unguardable on the Eagles' towel right there. Good stuff. Here's our Super Chat menu for today. If you want to donate to the show, we, of course, greatly appreciate your support. $5, we're hitting some smelling salts. $10, no one likes us. We don't care. We're going to sing that for you. $20, we'll crack a drink. $50, I'll do a beer bong. And if you send in a $100 Super Chat, we will send you a Cooper DeJean shirt because we're so appreciative of you supporting the program. Also, start getting those questions in right now. We're going to do a mailbag, hashtag Eagles, or send in a super chat to get featured here on the show. So many comments come in all throughout the broadcast, so this allows producer Jake Chipper to really filter through all of those comments and get the mailbag questions for our segment. We have 113 people watching live right now, only 25 likes. Where are the real ones at? Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon, like the video if you are ready to talk some Eagles here on the show. Couple of OTA notes here. Cooper DeJean making a nice one-handed grab from a punt that looked that took a really weird bounce along the sideline. Good news here, Nakobe Dean participating in 7-on-7s. He was the off-ball linebacker alongside Devin White. Quinion Mitchell, Eli Ricks, and Cooper DeJean as the nickel. That was the second team secondary. John Ross with a nice catch in 7-on-7s from Kenny Pickett. Pass was a little bit behind him, but reached back, made the catch. What else do we have? Jalen Hurts intercepted in 7-on-7s. The pass was deflected and popped up into the air, picked off by Zach Bond, who continues to impress here. Kenny Pickett, he was also picked off, intercepted by Mekhi Garner on a deep pass to John Ross. But Kenny Pickett, once again, getting off to another good start at practice before that interception. Ripped about a 15-yard throw downfield and then a long throw downfield. Outside of that pick, Jalen Hurts pretty solid in the first 7-on-7 session. The only incompletion, a drop by Joseph Nagata. No Darius Slay, no James Bradberry again, and then no C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Slay and C.D. Deuce were present at OTAs last week, but those three players not a part of the first-team secondary, so the first-team unit was Isaiah Rodgers at left corner, Keely Ringo at right corner. He was not there last week. And then Tyler Hall getting some nickel snaps with Reed Blankenship and Avonte Maddox at safety. So the Eagles continue to give extended looks to Avonte Maddox. Hurts' first pass of the day, he hit Saquon Barkley. John Ross, by the way, jersey check, wearing the number 83. So those are some Eagles OTA takeaways here so far. Josh Fever saying Nagata has bricks for hands. Dragon, getting the hashtag Eagles in there. The Razor, hashtag Eagles. Good stuff. Joshua Smalley, are we bringing Miles Sanders back? The Penn State connection. It's funny that you say that because literally we're going to talk about that on today's show. Little peek inside of what we're doing. Losing hope. What's up, my brother? Hope you're doing well. Glad that you're here, hanging out here with us on this fine Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Mandatory minicamp for the Eagles is next week, by the way. So we'll be live once again, passing along some updates during the minicamp session. We have 106 people watching live. I need everybody right now to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and with that, let's get the show underway. Yo, what's good? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's Eagles Now a part of your day. And as for what we're getting into here on the show, the Eagles held their second open OTA practice. So we have a lot of big, juicy storylines that we want to talk about from that practice session and looking ahead to mandatory minicamp next week. And also going to explain how the Philadelphia Eagles have drastically improved this offseason and why the arrow is pointing up for this football team. And you know the deal. No one likes us. We don't care. Let's talk some birds right now here on the show. As for those marquee OTA storylines, and also this carries us into mandatory minicamp next week, let's run through those here. I'm going to continue to keep an eye on wide receiver 3 and wide receiver depth. This continues to be a weakness and an issue for the Philadelphia Eagles. And with Devontae Smith not at OTAs last week, Joseph Nagata alongside A.J. Brown was wide receiver 2. And A.J. Brown, credit to him, he signs that massive contract. He's been at both weeks of OTAs. That goes a long way as far as him being a leader of this team. And Joseph Nagata, he's certainly been up and down. He did have a drop in 7-on-7s from a ball from Jalen Hurts. But he does have really intriguing size. But the point here being is that if A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith were to get injured and Joseph Nagata has to step in on the outside, you start to have some question marks there. Because if they were to get hurt, that is certainly problematic. Now, the Eagles right now do have multiple options at wide receiver 3. Calais Campbell performed well last week at OTAs. He had a good connection going with Jalen Hurts, 4.3 speed, but he's been injured so much. I'm curious to see if Britton Covey gets an opportunity as a pass catcher in this offense. John Ross was running with the second-team offense. He did catch a long ball from Kenny Pickett, and then Kenny Pickett underthrew him, and that ball was intercepted by Mekhi Garner here on this Thursday. Anaya Smith coming off that stress fracture. I'm interested to see if he could have an opportunity to claim wide receiver 3, because at 5'9", 4'5" speed, he's a prototypical slot wide receiver in this league, and Johnny Wilson is not that. He's the tallest wide receiver in the National Football League, so to me, more on the outside. But could he get some reps? And again, if Brown or Smith were to go down, you're relying on some players here who do have some question marks hovering over their helmets. As for the top free agent wide receivers remaining in free agency, we've talked about Hunter Renfrow here on the show. I think that he would be a good scheme fit. Kellen Moore would be able to utilize him. He's also a good scheme complement to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I'd stay far away from Michael Thomas after he got off to a historic start the first couple of years with the New Orleans Saints. He has not been able to stay healthy over the last several years. Jarvis Landry might be washed. He's coming off a tryout with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but did not sign. Mecole Hardman is interesting because unlike Calais Campbell and John Ross, who were fast but injured, Hardman, he's been able to really stay healthy for the most part throughout his career. And then Sterling Shepard rounding out that list of the top free agent wide receivers. I love the top 2 here. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are both elite. They form to be arguably the best wide receiver duo in the National Football League. But after that, Eagles might have to make a move via trade, via free agency, just to shore up that position a little bit, because question marks remain at that position group. Will James Bradberry show up? He did not show up to week 1 of Philadelphia Eagles OTAs, and he did not show up once again to week 2 of OTAs. Now, last week, it was Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, and Avonte Maddox as the first string Eagles secondary unit. Here on Thursday, Darius Slay, James Bradberry, C.J. Gardner-Johnson not there. So Isaiah Rodgers once again running with the ones. Keely Ringo, who was not at practice last week, also running with the ones. Tyler Scott was the starting nickel, and Avonte Maddox took over alongside Reed Blankenship at starting safety. With James Bradberry, the contractual issue could be a problem here. Pre-June 1 cut, that's $15.1 million in dead money. Obviously, that's not in play. Eagles would save $10.8 million if they cut him before the end of this month, which is coming to a close. Post-June 1 cut, $4.3 million in dead money, $0 in cap savings. A big part of that is that Bradberry has a guaranteed option due in 2024 worth $9.64 million, which is why the contract is an issue, as I stated. Per Over the Cap, more contract details here in finer print. Bradberry originally signed that 3-year, $38 million contract with the Eagles with $20 million in guaranteed money. His 2023 and 2024 base salaries fully guaranteed, and he will also receive a $7.685 million signing bonus. There is a guaranteed option due in 2024 worth $9.64 million, as we said. If on the roster in 2025, Bradberry will earn an option bonus worth $16.5 million, and the final 4 years of the contract are void years used for salary cap purposes, which really is a Howie Roseman staple. I can tell you this, there's no way that Bradberry is going to be on this team in 2025 with that option bonus due of $16.5 million. Philadelphia can spread out that guaranteed money over the last couple of years as well to make it easier, by the way, for them to absorb that cap hit. And sticking with the corners, Keely Ringo not there last week. He's there this week. I think that's important for his development because he has an opportunity really to get some really good playing time this year in 2024. And Isaiah Rodgers continues to run with the ones more because of players not there. But that goes to show me and tells me that the Eagles coaching staff starting to trust him a little bit. And Kelee Ringo, he nearly picked off Jalen Hurts downfield in 7-on-7s. Good coverage on Calais Campbell, just couldn't finish the play, but he was able to notch the pass break up. And then with the rookies, Quinion Mitchell continues to play with the second-string defense on the outside with Cooper DeJean as the nickel for the starting second, or I guess I should say, for the second-string defense. A lot of moving parts here as we're breaking this down on the fly. And then with the third-string defense, Cooper DeJean has been getting reps at outside corner. I imagine Philadelphia's trying to figure out where can we utilize him best. Outside corner, inside corner. I think his pathway to playing right away is that slot nickel. Of note, Eagles have not yet played him at the safety spot. They continue to be adamant that Cooper DeJean is a corner, or at least they want to see if they can play him there. To the safety position, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship, as of right now, going to be the starters if no other moves are made. Sidney Brown still recovering. Mekhi Garner in OTAs has made some good plays on the football, notching an interception and a couple of pass breakups. Will C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship continue to be the starting duo? Tell you this, C.J. Gardner-Johnson looking fresh in the new number 8. He's rocking the number 8 to pay homage to his favorite athlete of all time, the late, great Kobe Bryant, and of course, Philadelphia legend. And let me throw this out there once again. Justin Simmons is still unsigned. He is still searching for a team to land with in 2024 in free agency. And the reason why Justin Simmons is still an option, if you have C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Justin Simmons as your two starting safeties with Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship as your backups, not only do you have an elite starting combination, but you have some really viable backup options, and it fortifies your depth. Justin Simmons is still playing at an all-pro caliber level, and he has scheme familiarity, and that gives you scheme continuity because he played under Vic Fangio, and it's not like him entering his age 31 season. He's cooked, like we've seen from older players. I don't think he's going to be washed overnight like James Bradberry was. Going from 2022 to 2023, I still think Simmons can play at a really, really high level, and I would not rule out Simmons being a part of this team as we get closer to training camp. Eagles are trying to see what they have right now at that safety spot, and of course, they'll continue to monitor that position. Cooper DeJean, by the way, a nice pass breakup along the sideline, so he getting acclimated with this Eagles defense as well. Other OTA storylines here for the Birds. Who are the starting off-ball linebackers going to be? Good news here on this Thursday. Nakobe Dean back at practice, partaking in 7-on-7s. He was the starting off-ball linebacker alongside Devin White. Zach Bond did have an interception of Jalen Hurts off a deflection. He continues to turn the heads of that defensive coaching staff, in particular, the defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. So a little bit of a competition going on, I would imagine, between Dean and Bond. What's the edge rusher rotation going to be like? It's hard to gauge in OTAs because there's not any trench play, just 7-on-7s. But Vic Fangio is going to ask his edge rushers to drop back in coverage. The backup center, backup guard spots. Where does Trevor Keegan fit in? He only played left guard in college and played very well at left guard for Michigan last year. He's continued to just play left guard. Dylan McMahon, late round pick out of NC State. Is he going to be the backup center? Matt Hennessy can play center. He can play guard. He's been backing up Tyler Steen at right guard. I want to continue to see what Kellen Moore is going to bring this offense as far as his play designs, his scheme, and his play calling. And a play on words here. Give me more motion. Eagles dead last in that category last year. It's not going to be the case with Kellen Moore, and I'm excited about that because it helps out your offense, it helps out your quarterback, and it helps you gain an edge on the opposing defense. And then Avonte Maddox's role. Eagles are high on him as a safety. You know, he was the option there in the wild card round. They continue to give him reps there. He was running with the first team defense at safety because of players not being there. And then he was also running with the first team defense last week when Darius Slay was there. James Bradberry was not at slot. So that improves his chances of making this Eagles roster. Tell you what, this gets me pumped up. So many takeaways from OTAs. I'm reacting live to all of the tweets and updates as they come in from practice and giving that to you on the fly. Put it in my veins, man. The adrenaline is flowing. If you love talking Eagles football, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Speaking of Quinion Mitchell, by the way, he continues to play really well. Isaiah Rodgers, a pick 6 on Jalen Hurts. How about that? Get your Quinion Mitchell jerseys right now at chatsports.com/Quinion. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Coming up next here on the show, and stay tuned, at the end of this segment, more OTA takeaways as I take a look at some of the happenings from Eagles practice. First, though, are the Eagles drastically improved? NFL.com listing the Birds as the second most improved team in the NFL this offseason. And here's their list of their top 5 most improved ball clubs in the league. Number 1, Chicago Bears. Easy to see why. Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, they were active in free agency. I liked what they did in the NFL draft as well. Philadelphia Eagles made a bunch of moves in free agency and in the draft, and I think they improved dramatically. So the Birds checking in there at number 2. And then the New York Jets, they fortified the offensive line, made what was a disastrous unit a little bit better. Detroit Lions have spent a lot of money. They made it to the NFC Championship game last year. They're not settling with that. And the Pittsburgh Steelers needed to get better at offensive line. They needed to improve at quarterback. You could check the box off in both of those areas. At the quarterback spot, we'll certainly see, but they were aggressive in trying to make that position a little bit better and getting rid of Kenny Pickett, bringing in Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Here's what the NFL.com website had to say about the Eagles getting a little bit better. All the chaos, that festered around the Eagles late last year has been eclipsed by another strong offseason. Let's start with the coaches. Having Kellen Moore calling plays on offense and Vic Fangio running the defense will make Nick Sirianni's job as head coach much easier. The signing of running back Saquon Barkley gives the offense another dynamic weapon, while the defense added a disruptive edge rusher in Bryce Huff to replace Hassan Reddick and a critical leader in the secondary in C.J. Gardner-Johnson returning. Philadelphia also killed it in the draft once again. The squad needed more help for a woeful pass defense and ultimately landed 2 stellar defensive backs with its first 2 picks in Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. The Eagles still need to figure out how to avoid what led to their implosion in 2023, but they have enough talent to think a return to the top of the NFC East is a likelihood. So that's what NFL.com had to say, and I have a lot of the same thoughts for why Philadelphia has been able to improve. And I've said this for a long time. I think better, more experienced coordinators who are setting you up to succeed offensively and defensively, who have much more experience as compared to Brian Johnson and Sean Desai, just make this team better all around. And they have chops. They've had units that have been some of the best in the NFL. So I love the coordinator hires here for Philadelphia. The Birds' offense wasn't an issue really until it sputtered late last year. If there was an issue, it was the lack of consistency because Brian Johnson had no rhythm as far as his play calling. But you still have Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, still a really good offensive line, even though Jason Kelce retired, and you added another weapon in Saquon Barkley. So you have offensive skill player continuity in addition to that new weapon. The secondary has drastically gotten better for what was a historically bad passing defense last year. Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean are going to be able to help you. Isaiah Rodgers going to be able to help you. Darius Slay still playing at a really good level. You're hoping for leaps from Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks. Off-ball linebacker was addressed. Nakobe Dean back healthy, of course, helps you, but Devin White is the most gifted linebacker this team has had in a really long time. And then Zach Bond and Oren Burks are good depth pieces there, and you drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And on both sides of the ball, I just think that Howie Roseman was able to add some quality depth on this Eagles football team. More updates here from OTAs. The Cooper DeJean pass breakup along the sideline. Isaiah Rodgers perfectly jumped a Jalen Hurts pass over the middle, intercepted it, took it back for a touchdown. Keely Ringo nearly picked off Jalen Hurts downfield. Hurts tried to hit Calais Campbell, but it was underthrown. Nakobe Dean rotating in with the first team in 11-on-11s in addition to starting in 7-on-7s. Jordan Davis could have had a sack in 11-on-11s. Tyler Steen, first team right guard. Mekhi Becton, first team right tackle with no Lane Johnson. What else do we have? That's about it. In addition to what we talked about earlier, Kenny Pickett getting off to a good start, and then he was intercepted by Mekhi Garner, but he did have a couple of good throws, as Kenny Pickett looks to be a big upgrade over Marcus Mariota. Let's round out with this. The Eagles are a top what team in the NFL? Fill in the blank for me. As always, thanks for watching the show, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, segment number 1 down. Millie315 using the hashtag Eagles. Sean Harding, amazing coverage as always, Chase. Salute to you, brother. Who is Tyler Scott from Darshan? He's a slot corner who the Eagles signed in free agency. Philadelphia's liked him for a little while. They wanted to poach him off, I believe, the Raiders practice squad. He played with the Raiders, and he was on their active roster last year. Top 3 at minimum from currently rebranding. Alex Murphy, top 3. Nick Stone, top 3. Jonathan Gibbs, top 5. So a lot of people high on this Eagles team. We are 23 likes away from 100 likes here on Eagles Now. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Another call for our mailbag. Use hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat to get on the show. You send in the super chat. We do fun stuff. And of course, we really appreciate all of your support of the program here. E.J. Jenkins with a nice catch over the middle. Sideline went wild. Jenkins has great size. Nick Sirianni rocking a Phillies hat and Jake Elliott t-shirt today. All right, that's it as far as the OTA updates. We got a surge in likes. Now we're 14 away from 100. All right, coming up next here on the show, I want to go through some Eagles cut candidates following OTAs. Jeff Freeman, really enjoying the coverage. I'm glad I found this channel. Thank you, brother. I'm glad you did as well, my man. All right, let's get to segment number 2. We're 7 likes away from 100. I love the support that we're getting here on the show. Who's going to break the Super Chat cherry for today? Who's going to send in the first one? Who's going to get cut? We'll take a look at some cut candidates right now. Coming your way on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. Eagles OTAs are in the books. The next step, mandatory minicamp next week for the Birds. So on today's show, Eagles cut candidates after OTAs. Players who are on the chopping block, on the roster bubble. And with that, let's ask you this. Which player in your eyes is in danger of getting cut and not making this 53-man roster? Howie Roseman in this front office has done a great job of building up a really talented football team, so some good players could be left on the outside looking in. James Bradberry, not at OTAs last week, not at OTAs this past week. That's a little bit of an issue, I believe, for his standing on this Eagles roster. And the reasons are obvious for why Bradberry could get cut. In 2023, he played terribly. His lack of tackling effort in the wild card round against the Bucs, I thought was disgusting. The Eagles this year are deep at cornerback. It might be their deepest position on this football team, which is a good problem to have. If Bradberry is on the team, the question becomes, at that salary, how much is he going to play? And if the Eagles do want to cut him, given they're going to have to eat some of that money this year and next year, they have the cap space. Right now, $26 million to afford to take on that dead money. And the big question here, going into week 2 of OTAs, was James Bradberry going to show up? The answer to that question, he did not show up. I get it. It's a voluntary session. But when you're fighting for a roster spot, I would feel as though I need to be there. Now, some takeaways from that Eagles secondary, week 1 of OTAs, Slay, Rodgers, Maddox, your first-team corners. With Darius Slay not partaking in week 2 of Eagles OTAs, it was once again Isaiah Rodgers, Keely Ringo, who was not present last week, and then Tyler Scott in the slot with Devontae Maddox, the starting safety, alongside Reed Blankenship, because C.J. Gardner-Johnson was not at week 2 of OTAs. As for the Bradberry contract, a lot of people have asked about this. I'm going to try to simplify it as much as I can. If he were to be cut pre-June 1, which at this point obviously is past us, $15.1 million in dead money. Eagles would have saved $10.8 million in cap savings. Post-June 1 cut, $4.3 million in dead money. The Eagles save no money. The issue with this James Bradberry contract is this. He has a guaranteed option due in 2024 of $9.64 million. So do the Eagles want him on this team? Whether they do or not, still going to have to give him $9.64 million in guaranteed money. Cut candidate number 2 for the Eagles at a position group, which I think is a little bit light as far as depth, is Ty Davis-Price. Former third-round pick by the San Francisco 49ers. Eagles bring him in. He's certainly physical, and for his size, he does have really good balance. But at LSU, he really had one good year of production. And to start his NFL career, what I've seen, struggles to pass block. That's an issue in this offense. He's not a great pass catcher. That too, an issue in this offense. He fumbled week 1 of OTAs on a play where Cooper DeJean, I believe, came in and knocked the football out. So the lack of ball security, not good when you're on the roster bubble. And what did Philadelphia do? They drafted Will Shipley in the 4th round out of Clemson. So this Eagles running back depth chart, I think, is light on depth. But even with that having been said, Ty Davis-Price might not make the 53. How many running backs will the Eagles go with on a deep team on the 53? Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Gainwell, Will Shipley, they're going to make the team. Can Lou Nichols make the team over TDP? Does Philadelphia even have 4 running backs on the 53-man roster? Want to give you an updated look at our May sub-battle, and going into June, we want to get the victory once again because we always love beating those Dallas Cowboys. In the month of May, Philadelphia Eagles now picked up 1,000 new subscribers. We surpassed 75,000 subscribers on the channel, and we beat the Dallas Cowboys report, which racked up 803 new subscribers. It's a whole new month. It's a brand new slate. I'm not content with that victory. I want another one, and of course, I want to continue to beat up on the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? So make sure you hit that sub button for daily coverage of the Birds. Our sponsor for today's show, by the way, is Prize Picks, making daily fantasy sports so easy, where you could pick 2 or more players. You choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money. Plug in that link down below, prizepicks.com/CLNS, for a $100 deposit match. Our futures picks here, A.J. Brown, more than 7.5 receiving touchdowns. He had 7 last year, 11 the year before. I think he falls in between that range. So let's go more. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he quite throws for 4,000 passing yards, but can he throw for 3,700? I think so. Saquon Barkley can run wild in this offense if he stays healthy. More than 1,055.5 rushing yards. Gimme more. And then Derrick Henry, more than 10.5 rushing touchdowns for the Baltimore Ravens. The thunder to the lightning that is Lamar Jackson. Win big money. Withdraw your winnings within the Prize Picks app. Pick more, pick less, pick Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Eagles cut candidate number 3 is Britton Covey here. And I included Britton Covey on our surprise cut candidates video a couple of weeks ago. And furthermore, this is why Covey could get cut. Anaya Smith has punt return ability, and the Eagles really like him as a young player. He's also very dynamic and has better size than Britton Covey. Cooper DeJean is a home run threat and a big play waiting to happen. He too has punt return ability, and he's been getting reps at punt returner so far this offseason. Anaya Smith and Cooper DeJean, they could play elsewhere. Anaya Smith, he could play slot receiver. Cooper DeJean could play outside corner, slot corner, and maybe at some point safety. So that adds to their value if you don't have to take away a roster spot from just a sole special teamer, which is what Britton Covey might very well be. Does he ever get a crack at wide receiver 3? Up to this point, that has not been the case. So if he's one-dimensional, that could be an issue in him making the roster. Now, we are talking about the best statistical punt returner in the NFL over the last year and a half since he got his feet wet, got acclimated with the speed of the NFL game. But again, if you're one-dimensional on a team that's deep with this much talent, that could affect and impact your ability to make this Eagles roster. Cut candidate number 4 is the rookie 6th-round pick in Johnny Wilson. I know he has great size. 6'6", he's tantalizing. But a 6th-round pick is not a guarantee to make the roster. If he's big and he can't play, you're useless. If you are that size, I want to see you go up and get it. I want to see you impose your will. And if you play small and soft, see ya. No place for you in Philadelphia. And will the drops and him playing smaller than his size continue? Because those issues, in addition to him being at points a sloppy route runner, they were a problem at Florida State. There's also this option. If you do cut him and you're a believer that you can develop him, you can still sign him to the practice squad if he clears waivers. And then cut candidate number 5 is just an overall position here. We've talked about how the Eagles are so deep at the cornerback spot. A young cornerback could get cut. And the cornerback competition in training camp, at mandatory minicamp, it's going to be a fierce one. Because you're loaded at that position. And you're loaded for the first time in a really long time. Darius Slay. Isaiah Rodgers. You drafted Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. You have Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo. James Bradberry. Tyler Hall out of the slot. Avonte Maddox out of the slot. Josh Jobe going to try to make this team coming off the torn Achilles. So one of those young corners might get cut just because of the mathematical equation of having to cut down the roster to 53 players. If you enjoyed today's show, real one, roll call. Type it down below. As always, thank you so much for supporting the Eagles Now movement here, and hop on board, join the family here at Chat Sports by subscribing. Segment number 2 in the books. Is Tanner McKee next on the list? No. Tanner McKee is going to be QB3, maybe QB2. 215, Maddox can go. See, what is telling to me is that the Eagles like Maddox. They cut him because of financials. They brought him back. They're trying him at slot. They're playing him at safety. The positional versatility could help him. When healthy, he's played pretty solid. Bradley Boyer is a real one. Robert Gilberthorpe, definitely a real one as well. All right, any more updates here from OTAs? Calais Campbell said he could tell in Indianapolis that Nick Sirianni was going to be a head coach. That's a big reason why he signed with Philadelphia. Next time we see the Eagles practice, mandatory minicamp next week. 3 straight days. Can't wait for it.
Exciting times, baby. Football's back. It's back.
Yeah. those are pretty much all of the practice updates as practice just ended for Eagles OTAs. Good stuff. All right, we have one more segment to get to before our mailbag. So get those mailbag questions in right now. Hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. We just had some big thunder come down here.
Oh, man.
Did anybody hear that?
That was kind of crazy. I wish it was as nice as it is in Philly right now.
On Monday morning, woke up, 80-mile-per-hour winds. Oh! High Orions, 19. Or is it Orion? Orion Kirkering, Phillies relief pitcher. Down the hatch, amigo. Go Birds, the real ones. You know, I'm actually excited that you sent in that $20 super chat because I want to try this hard iced tea from Happy Dad. Not a sponsor,
wow.
but they should be. So let's crack this from High Orion.
The thunder came in and the super chat right after it. What do you know?
Interesting. I don't think it's that good.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Only 1 gram of added sugar, so that's good. Only 100 calories. Minimal sodium. No artificial sweeteners, that's good. But it just doesn't taste that good.
Ah, what a shame.
I had high hopes.
What a shame.
Made with real brewed tea. It is 5%, so that's kind of high. Jack Herring saying, afternoon, fellas. Good day.
Good afternoon.
Millie315, man, I'd love to be on the sideline watching the birds go to work.
Oh,
I hear you, man.
absolutely. I need to see how ripped A.J. Brown is right now in person. I got to see that. I got to see that for myself because it's got to be ridiculous.
Yeah, let me send you this photo here because it is kind of crazy. I put this on the community tab of our YouTube channel last week, and people are like, whoa, AJ.
Whoa.
He's so ripped, people were saying, lay off the roids. I think it's all natural.
All natural. Hard worker.
I think that should have sent.
Yeah, I got it.
Got it? Cool. All right, our super chat menu. $5, we'll hit the smelling salts. $10, no one likes us. We don't care. $20, we'll crack a drink. $50 for a beer bong. $100, Coupe de Jean shirt. You send in a $100 super chat, we're going to send you a Coupe de Jean shirt as a thank you for supporting the show. David Marcella, there he is. LFG boys, the real DeJeans. Right on cue, bro.
Oh, my God.
Look at AJ Brown here. Like, is that a 12-pack? Not a beer. That's crazy. I mean, he's got the traps, the biceps, the triceps, the chest, the pecs, the abs, the quads, the calves. He's got it all, man. That is just phenomenal shape right there.
That's what I used to look like back in my prime.
Yeah, before you came here, right? That's what you looked like?
Yeah.
Of course, of course.
Obviously. Didn't get it on cameras.
We got past 100 likes. Thanks to everybody for that. Now let's go to segment number 3.
Let's do it. Mailbag coming up too. After that, keep getting those questions in. We got few so far. So keep getting those in. Hashtag Eagles, baby. And Dennis said he looks like Rocky.
He does. He might even be in better shape than Rocky.
Okay.
That's facts. Hashtag Eagles or a super chat, one of our last calls to get those mailbag questions in. We have one more segment until our mailbag. Ready to rock? All right, here we go. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr., and this is what's coming up. Could a Miles Sanders reunion be on the horizon if he's cut by the Carolina Panthers? Could the Birds sign Calais Campbell to fortify the depth along the defensive line? And a reminder, this is also a programming reminder, Eagles mandatory minicamp is this upcoming week. 3 straight practices, June 4th through the 6th. Keep it locked here for the best coverage, updates, news, rumors, analysis. Hit that sub button right now. We start off with story number 1. Could Saquon Barkley and Miles Sanders reunite and throw it back to the Penn State playing days? Should the Birds bring back Booby? That's his nickname, by the way. There's chatter that Miles Sanders could be cut by the Carolina Panthers as a post-June 1 designation. It was not the current regime that signed Miles Sanders last offseason to a 4-year, $25.4 million contract. That's a big reason why Philadelphia did not retain his services, because he got a sizable bag from Carolina. But he was not good this past year. The offense was dead, had no pass game, the offensive line was brutal, and because of that, they could not run the football. And what did the Panthers do this offseason under new head coach Dave Canales, who was the Buccaneers offensive coordinator? Did a really good job in reviving Baker Mayfield. They traded up in the second round to take Jonathan Brooks as the first running back in this year's draft class out of Texas. So that move could tell a story here that the Panthers have cooled on Miles Sanders, and they might look to just pivot to a different player and a new era in Jonathan Brooks. What's interesting here is the post-June 1 financial numbers for Miles Sanders. It would not make a lot of sense for Carolina to go this route, yet there's been a lot of chatter about the Panthers letting him go. Post-June 1, they'd have to take on $7.5 million nearly of dead money. They only save $200,000 in cap savings. This would be a move by the Panthers to make Jonathan Brooks that clear number 1 running back, and they'd have to be okay with eating some of that dead money. And Carolina, they also signed Eagles legend Rashad Penny back a couple of weeks ago. So if Sanders does get cut, the question becomes, does this make sense for the Philadelphia Eagles? I will say this. I think this Eagles roster is in a really good spot. I think they've done a good job of bringing in some quality depth pieces. I do think that 2 positions are a little light on depth. That's wide receiver and it's running back. Saquon Barkley, of course, is going to be your bell cow. A dual threat, versatile, diverse option who, when healthy, is one of the most elite playmakers in the game. Kenny Gainwell has proven to be a very solid backup running back. He's trusted as far as being a pass protector. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And 2 years ago in 2022, during that Super Bowl season, he had a couple of really nice runs and really nice plays. He's a favorite of Nick Sirianni, who oftentimes wears his shirt. Will Shipley is your RB3, a 4th-round pick who, during OTAs, has struggled to catch the football a little bit, but a poor man's Christian McCaffrey, who I'm intrigued by the skill set, but he's completely unproven. And then Ty Davis Price and Lou Nichols, they're on the roster bubble because they're roster bubble types. So you bring in Miles Sanders here, the depth goes from being a question mark to a huge strength, and having Saquon Barkley and Miles Sanders, that gives you an elite 1-2 punch at the running back spot. Miles Sanders was certainly an interesting player during his tenure in Philadelphia because you saw the moments of great play. You saw the flashes of him being an elite running back, and he was so up and down. Injury issues from time to time, fumble issues from time to time, just erratic play. He'd break off a home run, and you're like, wow, he is so explosive. And then he would make a play that was a little bit maddening. But during a contract year, he played awesome for Philadelphia en route to the Super Bowl. But then in the Super Bowl, he was pretty much benched. But in that 2022 season, He parlayed 259 carries for nearly 1,300 yards, top 5 in the NFL that year, almost 5 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns into a big contract with Carolina. But it was a brutal go for him with the Panthers last year. 16 games played, only had 129 carries, 432 yards, 3.3 yards per tote, and only a single touchdown. Now, if Philadelphia were to go this route, and they were to be up for a reunion with Miles Sanders, I think that would signal that Philadelphia does not think that Will Shipley is ready to be a backup running back for this team, and he needs another year of grooming and seasoning. That's somewhat concerning because they got him in the 4th round, but that's what that move would tell me. What do you think? You tell me. Should the Eagles bring back Miles Sanders if he's cut? S for sign, P for pass. Let me know down below in the comment section. If the price is right, I might be down. The price is right for these Cooper DeJean shirts. The word John, the most Philadelphia word. And if you want to get your Cooper DeJean shirt, you can get it right now. And it's available in Kelly Green, Classic, or Black, Routine. Chatsports.com/DeJean. We'll put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of this video. So we talked about Miles Sanders. Up next, could the Eagles make an addition on the defensive side of the ball in Calais Campbell? ESPN linking the Eagles to the free agent defensive lineman who's been getting the job done in the NFL since 2008. And even at his size, he continues to play really good ball. ESPN saying the Birds the best team fit for Calais Campbell. And they continued by saying a return to Atlanta is a possibility for Campbell if he decides to play for another year at age 38. He tied for the team lead in sacks last year with 6.5, but I'm instead looking at the Eagles. Campbell would fit in Vic Fangio's 30 front as a rotational end, building more depth. At 6'8", 282 pounds, he can hold the point against the run game when matched up with offensive tackles, and he was a productive player last year for the Falcons, registering 28 pressures. I see Campbell as a total pro who could help multiple NFL squads. And I'm in agreement there. Calais Campbell can still play. 6.5 sacks last year. Those would not be the numbers for Philadelphia because he'd be more of a rotational player. But him as an end in Vic Fangio's 3-4 front, I think he'd be a good fit for Philadelphia here as that backup option. 2nd round pick in 2008. What a resume he's been able to put together. 6-time Pro Bowler. 1st team All-Pro once. Twice a 2nd team All-Pro. And a member of the NFL 2010s All-Decade team. Again, like Miles Sanders, if the price is right, which it's going to be for a 38-year-old, you bring him in the building. You see what you could have. Maybe you put him through a workout. See how he's still moving at the age of 38. We've seen Philadelphia go the route of Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph along the defensive line. They did that 2 years ago. They're willing to bring in veterans who are very experienced, who have put together really good resumes because they know leadership, check. Depth, check. An occasional big play, they have the chops for doing that. Should the Birds sign Calais Campbell? Y for yes, N for no. Bird Gang, we're asking you to comment down below because this is the most interactive Eagles channel right here on YouTube. And if you want to interact with me further, hit me up on social media. I'm on X at Chase_Senior. I'm on Instagram at Chase_Senior. I put a lot of short form content over on the social media pages. Angela G, hello Eagles fan family. Having a rough few days, so if anyone can send a prayer, send an extra one my way, please. Thank you. Everybody type AG in the chat. That'll be our way of sending a de facto prayer to a real one and a loyal viewer of the show. Hope your week becomes a little bit better there, Angela G.
Shout out, Angela.
Good to hear from you. Bunch of AGs in the chat. Oh! Dennis Designs. Saw some old games with Gainwell. He looked good running like his ass was on fire. I think he will be good as a backup. Not sure why everyone is pushing him out. Not pushing him out, but he is in the final year of his contract. Maybe others are pushing him out. Gainwell can play. Last year, not a good year. It seemed like when he was going to get going, a bad negative play would happen. That was kind of the story for the Eagles offense last year. They did a couple of good things. They get into the red zone. They'd shoot themselves in the foot with an interception, with the fumble, with a couple of penalties. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So Gainwell going into this year, new offensive coordinator, new play caller. He's better in that role of a backup. I think he rebounds, has more of a season like he did in 2022. Jeff Freeman, he is a first-time Super Chatter. Just wanted to show a little support. Y'all are making the long NFL offseason feel a little bit shorter with all the news, rumors, and great coverage. Thank you. Jeff Freeman, salute to you, and thanks for supporting the show. Dennis Designs did send that 50, so I at least have to do a beer bong. Here's the deal. We have a mailbag coming up. If we get another 50, I will do a beer boot. A beer boot if we get another 50. That's my deal for the people. If not, we'll do the beer bong. Another super coming in. Paul. Glad we signed a wide receiver in free agency, but I think the smartest decision for the Eagles is Renfrow instead of Ross. I agree. Ross Campbell, injured too much. I love the 4.3 speed, but it only does so much when they're on the field, right? They have not been able to stay on the field, either of those players, literally for their entire careers. Now, Renfrow 2 years ago was hurt. He was in the doghouse for Josh McDaniels last year to start the year. Then he got fired and started to see the field a little bit more. But who isn't in the doghouse for the miserable and grumpy Josh McDaniels? Hunter Renfrow would fit really well alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's that prototypical shifty short area quickness slot who I think could really contribute for this team this year. Really do believe that. All right, smelling salts. Whew. On a cloudy day, like you can see behind Chip, in which it's just been raining, got to hit the salts, dog. John Oden, what's going on with the Niners right now? I put out a cut candidates video today. You can check that out. Millie315 said, bro, come on.
All right, getting in this mailbag, last chance, last goal.
You want to hear a classic OTA quote? John Ross says he feels that he is faster than he was before.
Right.
He knows he probably isn't 4.22, but he feels as though he's far more consistent with the speed, which makes him faster. Say what? That's funny.
We will see.
All right, last call for our mailbag. Hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat.
Wow. Can y'all hear this, man? This is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear the thunder in the background, but wow.
We're also only $15 away from 100 on today's show.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, let's see here.
We good on those questions? Another 50. I'm doing a beer boot. Got to get it in before the end of the mailbag, which is coming up right now. Let's go.
I think we're good. We got 3 really good questions from Andrew Nathan, so.
Millie said, stormy down in Dallas. It's 63 and sunny here in New York. I did see that in the Northeast, it's beautiful. Angela G! A $2 super chat. What's up, Angela?
Love you, Angela.
How you doing, Angela G? We showed you the picture that she put together for me last week. Framed in all. Andrew Nathan, what's good, Brody? Paul! Also think Johnny Wilson would be better as a prototype tight end, even though they stated he's only a wide receiver. Also, how about that bad weather in Houston 2 days ago? Dude, we had it here, man. It wasn't Monday, it was Tuesday. Tuesday morning, I woke up, 6:30 a.m. There are storm sirens going off here in Dallas. I look at my phone. What time is it? What is happening? I hear howling winds outside. I get a weather alert. Find shelter. There are 80-mile-per-hour winds. So, I'm very curious by nature. I take a look, open the door from my balcony. I'm like, whoa, it is crazy out here. Howling winds. Tree branches are flying all over the place. Trees are breaking. Nobody's outside. It's pouring rain. And I'm like, damn, I can't get my run in, can I? Because if I do, a tree might fall on me. And I don't want that to happen. Oh, Dennis Designs got his stuff. Glad you got your stuff from what? The draft. So did you just get it, Dennis? Because I'm trying to figure out if Paul got his jersey, and if not, where it is. I'll check on that, Paul. Let us know if you got it or not. I'll check on that after the show. All right, we're about to get our mailbag underway. Do you have a trade question? A roster question? A schedule question? Whatever you have for me, hashtag Eagles. Send in a super chat. $3 away from 100 in super chats. And if we get another 50, I'm doing a beer boot. Paul, on the boat till the 7th. All right, man. How about Paul? Watching us from the boat. Guy's a legend. Let's take your questions right now from the legends. Yo, what's going on? Welcome into the show. Hope everybody out there is having a phenomenal weekend. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. And even though no one likes us, you know the deal. No one really cares. Go Birds, EAGLES. And let's answer your questions here on the program because you have a lot of questions and I have a lot of answers. First, do you want thought-provoking and informative Eagles coverage, which comes your way? Short form, long form, live, non-live, watch parties, regular live shows, news, rumors, and analysis. If the answer to that question is yes, you came to the right spot because that's what we do. Hit that sub button. It's Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr. Let's get it. Dennis Designs with a $50 super chat. And he wants to talk about the running back position here. Saw some old games of Kenneth Gainwell. He looked good, running like his ass was on fire. I think he will be a good backup. Not sure why everyone is pushing him out. I think the conversation around Kenneth Gainwell is what it is right now for two reasons. He's coming off a down year in 2023 in which ball security and production were issues. And then also he's in the final year of his rookie contract. And when you sign and make a splash, like the Eagles did with Saquon Barkley, everybody kind of forgets about everybody else. And Saquon Barkley, $26 million of guaranteed money is coming his way. So it's pretty much a 2-year deal, $13 million per. I'm utilizing him as much as possible. I also want him fresh for late in the year. But as far as his usage goes, you use him as a runner. I want to see the return of more screen passes, wheel routes. I want to see Saquon line up as a slot receiver. Durability has been a little bit of a concern, though. So the Eagles aren't going to be able to really run him into the ground, but I want to see him utilized a lot. Kenneth Gainwell has proven to be a very solid backup running back. I thought in 2022, he was really good behind Miles Sanders. And in those old games that Dennis is talking about, yeah, he ran hard. He had some getaway up. He had some getaway speed. That NFC Championship game, him and Miles Sanders were running through and all over the San Francisco 49ers. So I think last year, a bad year, but it was an embodiment and a summary of kind of what the Eagles season was last year. They'd do some good things, then they'd shoot themselves in the foot. That's kind of how Kenneth Gainwell's 2023 went. I think he's going to be motivated going into this year. I've seen some videos of him working out. Looks like he added some solid muscle too. Paul, $10 super chat. Glad we signed a free agent wide receiver, but But I think the smartest decision for the Eagles is signing Hunter Renfrow instead of John Ross. So John Ross is on the team. He made a couple of plays at OTAs this past week. That's cool. He said that he thinks he's faster than he was before, not quite the 4.22 40-yard dash guy that he was at the NFL Combine, which set a record, and a record that stood until Xavier Worthy this past March in Indianapolis coming out of Washington. But Ross thinks that his speed is more consistent. He could say that all he wants. This part of the offseason is the classic best shape of life season. He needs to be able to stay healthy. And in his career, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Calais Campbell has not been able to stay healthy. I know that Hunter Renfrow has had a couple of down years the last couple of years. Back in 2021, he had more than 1,000 receiving yards, and I think that he still has that in his game. Had the injury slowed him down a little bit? Yeah, maybe, but he's a slot wide receiver. He has the ability to beat zone sitting in that soft spot. Press man with the good footwork and the good get-off. And I just think that Hunter Renfrow, alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, is a good complement. So I would explore that for sure. Because if A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith get hurt, now you're relying on the off-injured Calais Campbell, John Ross, or the rookies and Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson, or a player like Joseph Nagata, who you're really not sure about. Wide receiver depth, a problem. It can be solved with Hunter Renfrow. Andrew Nathan, if Miles Sanders gets cut, and hopefully, did I say Anaya Smith in that last question? Of course, he's going to have a chance to. If Miles Sanders gets cut, do you believe that Howie would be interested in bringing him back on a one-year deal, or do you think that Kenneth Gainwell and Will Shipley will provide a solid RB2 production? Interesting question, and we talked about it on the show this weekend. Miles Sanders is in danger maybe of getting cut by the Carolina Panthers. That's been some of the buzz coming out of Carolina. They traded up for Jonathan Brooks in the second round. They're running back out of Texas. They made him the first RB taken in the 2024 draft class. Miles Sanders last year was so bad, but I think that was more because of the team. Frank Reich, a vanilla offensive mind at this point. Seems as though the league has passed him by, especially as a play caller. Quarterback's coach, I think he can still have something to give. But then he gets let go, and the offense still didn't do anything. Bad offensive line play, bad skill position players. They traded away DJ Moore. Bryce Young really struggled, and because of that, Miles Sanders really struggled. If you were to get cut, I'd explore it. Then Will Shipley becomes your RB4, Gainwell your RB3, Miles Sanders your RB2, and he gets to reunite with Saquon Barkley in the backfield. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think it's highly unlikely, though. Paul, $10 super chat. I also think, as he continues to ask about wide receivers and talk about wide receivers, that Johnny Wilson would be better as a prototype tight end, even though the Eagles have stated he's only a wide receiver. Also, how about that bad weather in Houston 2 days ago? All of Texas has gotten crushed this week as far as weather goes. So I hope everybody in that part of the country has been able to stay safe, especially Houston and Dallas. As for Johnny Wilson, would he be better as a tight end? A lot of people going into the draft weren't sure what he was going to be because he's 6'6", 6'7", but he doesn't have the physicality that you need as a tight end. He doesn't block like a tight end. And if he adds some weight, does that make him slower, which could be an issue? He plays smaller than that size, route running a problem, hands an issue because he dropped a lot of passes. The Eagles have said, we are taking him as a wide receiver. He is not a tight end. He might be the tallest wide receiver in the NFL, and he is, but we want to see him at wide receiver. If he could tap in to that size and he could become a beast, high pointing those 50-50 balls, coming down with it, climbing the ladder, being a dog, that'll be awesome for Philadelphia because I'm willing to take chances on players with that size, with those attributes in the 6th round of the draft. Millie 315, what's the most interesting tidbits coming out of live OTAs? Any good storylines developing? James Bradberry still has not shown up. I get that it's voluntary, but if I'm him, I'd want to show up because I know that I might be in danger of making the roster or just playing. Nakobe Dean returned and played a little with the 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. He was the starting off-ball linebacker alongside Devin White. I think that Cooper DeJean being with the second-string defense at nickel corner is interesting because he's a really intriguing starting slot nickel once he's able to grasp this defense because he's an excellent athlete and a great playmaker. Quinyon Mitchell's been making some good plays. So those are some of the big storylines coming out. Kenny Pickett has looked pretty good despite getting picked off on Thursday. He's made a couple of good throws. He looks to be a really sizable upgrade over Marcus Mariota, who just stinks. Andrew Nathan, last year, we carried 7 corners on the active roster. Given our current depth, who are your 7 corners that you predict make the 53, and which depth corner do you think gets traded before September? Good question here. So the shoo-ins to make the team: Darius Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. After that, Isaiah Rodgers, Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo, but then who plays nickel? Because then you're looking at Bradberry, you're looking at Avonte Maddox, Tyler Scott, all not making this team. So that's a lot of good corners right there. So let me count again. Darius Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, shoo-ins to make the roster, right? Then you have Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo, and then those last 2, you got to have some slots. So like Avonte Maddox might make the team. Tyler Scott probably out. James Bradberry maybe out. Can you work a trade for James Bradberry and get any type of value back for a team that's starving for cornerback help? Maybe, but I'm not sure how much value he has. I think Keely Ringo or Eli Ricks might have more value, but I like having young developmental corners on this team. It's tough. Erica Jones, what's good, gentlemen? Chilling. Happy to hear from you. Hyped to get through next season with you for sure. Thank you so much. Who are you looking forward to seeing out on the field this year the most? Saquon Barkley, Devin White, Bryce Huff, and I want to see sizable leaps from Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. And then I had been calling for C.J. Gardner-Johnson to come back. I'm excited to see him back. I also want to see what these rookies can do, if any, what they can do, if anything, as rookies. Can they contribute right from the jump? Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. In the preseason, I want to see how good Jalix Hunt looks. Anaya Smith, Johnny Wilson. I mean, this is why I love football. There are so many great storylines to talk about, to follow, to monitor. Can't wait. And I can't wait to get through the season with you and everybody else. The Razor. Do you think that the safety position is good enough, or do we need to bring someone in? C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship. That's your starting safety tandem right now. Your backups, Sidney Brown, Mekhi Garner. It's a unit that you can get by with. Is it a unit that I'm content with? No. My dream option would be Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons update, still out there, hasn't signed with the team. 4-time All-Pro. Going into his age 31 season. Leads the NFL in picks since 2016. Still playing at an elite level. Played under Vic Fangio. Instincts. Ball hawk. Team captain. Leadership. This is not a player who had obvious signs of decline like a Kevin Byard. This is a player who's still playing at a really high level. Whereas Byard, you saw him slipping a little bit. Eddie Jackson is also still out there. He too played under Vic Fangio. He was an All-Pro back in 2018 under Fangio with the Chicago Bears. Now that's a player we have seen decline. And that's a player who's had some injury issues the last couple of years. Justin Simmons has been very durable throughout his career for the most part. And what Justin Simmons and C.J. Gardner-Johnson gives you, a really good safety tandem. Then what Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship give you, excellent depth at that position, so it just makes your football team better as far as your starters and your reserves. Be sure to subscribe to us here on Philadelphia Eagles Now so that you can be a part of our mailbags. Always love opening up the floor and chopping it up with all of the real ones. All right, last call. Another 50. I'm doing a beer boot. You have 2 minutes. We can even do it collectively. If not, I still owe a beer bong for Dennis Designs. So 2 minutes on the clock. If we get 50 within 2, there's 20. There's 20 from Dennis. I'll give him a beer cheers. We need 30 more. And I'm doing a beer boot. Tyler Hall is what I meant to say. Did I say Tyler Scott? If I did, might be. Tyler Hall. Billy, glad you're feeling better.
Billy.
Billa.
Man, Dennis, the O-line, it's going to have to see. More unprovens than in the past, but I'm generally more optimistic about the O-line. Especially Cam Jurgens. Tyler Steen, I don't know. Cam Jurgens, I think, is going to be really good.
What's it like being in a skyscraper during a tornado? Luckily, I was at my apartment, but I was seriously wondering. I was like, do I go in my stairwell? That's usually what they tell you to do. Go in the stairwell because you're always surrounded by concrete. And when you look at buildings being made, sometimes you could see like the bones of it. You always see that concrete stairwell going up. I thought about going in my garage because that's underground.
I thought about that too when I woke up.
And what did I do? I just went back to bed. I took a little bit of a risk. Took a chance.
Unless there was like
if it was a tornado warning, which I mean 80 mile per hour winds is pretty much tornado-like conditions.
Yeah.
All right, 2 minutes about to expire. It just did. So I'm going to go get the beer bong, gonna pop up Chip, and I will be right back.
Little beer bong on a thirsty Thursday, baby. Drew Nathan, I could see JB, James Bradberry, being dealt via a 7th round pick swap. The good old late round pick swap. I mean, if they're just going to cut him anyways, and there's a team that's like, hey, we don't want to take the chance in the open market, just do a little pick swap. The Eagles would love that if they're going to cut him anyways. I could see a team doing that. I think he's still shown good enough play in the past where a team who has a bigger need than the Eagles for that could make that happen. Millie, what's up, Millie? It's going good. Going good. Got my Phils shirt on. Go Phillies. Good vibes in the Philadelphia sports world right now. Even the Sixers. Billy, you've been playing baseball, hit 3 home runs, and had 7 RBIs and 10 stolen bases. Was this in a series, in a game? Can't be in a game. Was this in a series, Billy? And what level do you play at? That's awesome, man. 3 home runs. I played baseball as a kid. I was never very good, not very seriously. But, every kid plays baseball when they're young. I don't think I hit 3 home runs in my career. I was terrible. I was awful. Oh, Andrew Nathan, no hat. Yeah, no hat. Got a little cut. Letting it loose. That's not tornado winds. That's tropical storm category 1 hurricane winds. Yeah, it was crazy, man. And I was up 6th floor of my building and I was a little worried. As Chase was, but I did the same thing. I went back to sleep. In a series, that's awesome. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases. Gosh. Phils could use you, man. 10 stolen bases. Baseball is fun to play. When you're not good. See, I wasn't good and it wasn't very fun. But when you're good, I'm sure it's fun. I just could never hit the ball, so it got frustrating. But I could run those bases, I'll tell you that. I could run those bases. I'm like Billy. I could steal some bags. Got champions tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck, Billy.
Is that why you were talking about the O-line for Dennis's $20 super chat?
Yeah.
Optimistic for the offensive line. Really think they have to show up. Not sure how good Cam will be. Tyler, for that matter. What do you think, especially early in the year? Yeah, early in the year, it could be difficult for Philadelphia. There isn't that offensive line continuity that they had in previous years. But look, you're still really good at left tackle with Mailata, left guard with Landon Dickerson, and right tackle with Lane Johnson. And when I watched Cam Jurgens as a rookie, I was impressed by him in the preseason at center going into 2022. Thought he moved well. He looked the part. Now, Tyler Steen, that's a big question mark, but I will say this. At Vanderbilt in Alabama, he played left tackle. He was left on an island. He played well there. You would imagine that he'd be able to slide to the interior and play guard.
Apparently, Nolan Smith says he gained some muscle. He's up to 245 pounds now.
Wow.
Says this is the year he will turn the corner. And he's proud of Jordan Davis for getting into shape.
I hope so. All right, you know what I said? I said F it. I said I'm still going to do the beer boot just because I love everybody here. So, beer boot for the birds.
Everyone type those chugs, baby. Chug in the chat. Let's go. Chug, 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 chug. How about a beer boot at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, huh? Nothing like it. Let's go, baby. Chug, 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 chug. Chase, 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 chase. It's almost there. It's almost there. Boom.
My eyes started to water at the end.
Wow. Put it down, baby. Putting them down. Woo.
Woo! All right.
Oh, man. Darren Waller just dropped a song and music video about his divorce with Kelsey Plum.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure it's terrible.
Oh, boy.
Where's the burp? I just let out a mini burp. One more boot, you're on a roll? Dude, I would die. I would die. Whew. All right, that's going to do it. We're signing off. Good stuff today, man. 4 segments, live OTA updates, mandatory minicamp next week. We'll kind of do the same thing. Eagles minicamp live on Eagles Now, reacting to all of the action. For Chip, I'm Chase. Thanks to everybody for watching. We'll see you soon. Peace. Go Birds.